I got kidnapped twice. I was hot in them streets.
Yo, that's Aida Rodriguez. Hey.
Why y'all pick the perfect clips? Like nobody picked them clips.
Perfect.
Nah, man, I knew where we was gonna go with it because I just find your you know certain comedians that make you Dave Chappelle, that make you Whoopi Goldberg, of course Richard, Monique. It's certain comedians that make you think with their comedy. You know what I mean?
Those are all my heroes.
Those are all your heroes.
They paved the way for me. Like,
absolutely.
You know how many times I've gotten interviewed and people try to get me to shit on Monique? And I'm like, I will never, ever shit on. First of all, I don't talk about family in front of the company.
Absolutely.
And secondly, I will never, because she paved the way for me. When I did Shaq Comedy All-Stars, she sent for me. Tamara, your friend Tamara Goins will tell you. She sent for me. She was in her room with security with the FOI, which I love because her security is FOI. And she said, I've been watching you. I'm proud of you. I want you to go out there tonight. I expect you to be great. And she was so kind, and nobody has ever done that for me. You know what I mean? Yeah. So those are my heroes.
She put me on my first nighttime TV show.
Oh, yeah.
When she had the Monique show.
Yeah.
No one had asked prior to that. And then since they've asked, I haven't done any. Agreed, and that's the only one I ever done.
You was on the Parkers too. They just reran it the other day. You was playing somebody named Corey.
Well, Heather, I got many faces and many hats. Damn it, I'm like Ida. I gotta get the money.
Let's
get to it.
Okay. So you were really kidnapped twice.
I was. It was family kidnap. I wasn't lucky enough to get kidnapped with somebody with good credit. Like, the people who kept snatching me was broke, and it was a mess.
It was a mess.
Yeah. So my mother kidnapped me from my father because he cheated on her, right? And I speak a lot about that because a lot of women, when men have problems with their men, they hold the kids hostage, and I'm a direct result of that. Like I'm not for that. But she stole me. She changed my name. My whole life, I thought I was illegitimate. And, when I was growing up, they would make fun of you for that. They'd be like, your daddy didn't sign your birth certificate. Well, he did. My mom just erased that shit.
Oh, damn.
She did. She changed my, yes.
Yeah.
Where I'm from, the House of Vital, the Vital Statistics Office burnt down, and they let the parents fill out the birth certificates in good faith. And she took his name off.
She took your pop's name off.
And didn't even tell me when I ordered it. I was like, that looks like your handwriting. She was like, it sure does. She never said it was her.
She never said. So what kind of relationship did you have at all with your father?
With my father?
Yeah.
He found me on Facebook. And we are friendly. We talk. We've reconnected. What's funny is my father was a merengue singer, and he wrote a song about me. It was a 45 he gave me when I was little, and my mother threw it away. And somebody found it on the internet because of this They Ready special, and they sent me the song the other day. And when I heard it, I started crying because I was like, I remember my father's voice from when I was little. We're good. He and I are reconnecting. I have a brother that lives in California that lives down the street from me, and we've built a relationship in the last 8 years, and he's my father.
It's your father.
And I'll have more time with him than I didn't. So I'm gonna honor that. He's still my father, and I love him.
So you didn't know you had Dominican roots
Not
up until what
later.
age? What age?
I was about 11, 12. You know the colorism and we all got this. First of all we are is a product of who raped our great grandmothers, right? So we all come from we're all diaspora children. We all come from the motherland, and a lot of us don't want to know that, but the Puerto Ricans.
That part. Okay.
Yeah, it's big. It's big on, we got this whole self-hating thing going on, which is why we got so many problems. But, that Puerto Rican and the Cubans in my family were like, we don't want her to know that she got good hair. And I'm like, that's not part of my lexicon. I got a black daughter and a black son. We don't say good hair.
Good hair. What is that?
Slavery talk.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what that is.
That's what that is.
That's indoctrination.
Is their father in their life?
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, we had a season where he didn't do what he was supposed to do, and I'm very honest about that. But I wasn't going to hold my kids for ransom. They don't have a price on them. They are human beings, and they love their father, and that affects their self-esteem. So when you shit on the father of your children, you are indirectly hurting your kids because that's a part of them. You know what I mean? And I don't believe in that. So.
You don't believe in that? No.
Dope.
No.
You like what you're hearing right here, Aida
I love
Rodriguez.
it.
Like, she ain't even telling jokes
At all.
but it's funny.
It's
Yeah.
funny.
I ain't no
But
clown.
that, to me, that really was what Dave Chappelle's special was all about. I looked at it as like the best satirical comedy we've ever seen, experience, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it was a social construct that just so happened to be funny. I feel like that's kind of where you're coming from too as well. This incredible social dialogue and social construct that just happens to have a comedic tinge to it. Is that kind of the angle that you're going for?
It's just naturally who I am. I ain't no clown, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't go. People come up to me and they say, hey, if you're a comedian, tell me a joke. I'm like, no, pay for a ticket and come watch my show. You don't walk up to a dentist and say, hey, can you check my molars?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a clown. I believe it's important to have a message. I also believe that we need a spectrum in comedy and with people of color. Like, everybody wasn't designed to go out there and talk about those things. Some people are there to just make you laugh, and that's okay too. We always have this responsibility. Like, people get mad at me because when they talked about Kanye West, they were like, well, Kanye said this, and I was like, when did Kanye become the leader of all black people? It's always when
Yeah.
somebody rises to a certain level, they automatically become leadership for people of color. But that's not the case with white people. Kim Kardashian is not speaking on behalf of all white people, nor Armenians. It's only with us. So Kanye could say whatever he wants. Jay-Z could do whatever they want. Jay-Z is not the equivalent to Malcolm X to me. You know, he is like what Bumpy, whatever in Harlem was.
Yeah.
He's a drug dealer that turned his life around, and a great example of somebody who made something amazing happen for his life. That does not make him leadership on a political scheme when there are people who are working daily, tirelessly, who you never hear about, who all they do is work for the advancement of people of color and really are on the ground. Those are the people you need to be talking to about what happens with Nike and Kaepernick, not celebrities because they have a lot of followers, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I'm like, I don't want to do comedy if I can't speak on something, because if not, that's just not, it doesn't fill me. You know, my mission is to unite black and brown people, to tell the stories that nobody wants to tell, that people are afraid to tell. And I want to talk about things that are uncomfortable. And I also want to free people of color of shame and guilt. By using my stories, it's important.
Aida Rodriguez.
Wow.
Come on, Mike Muse.
I love it.
no.
Tiffany Haddish is so talented. And in her story, you know, her
Absolutely.
journey, should I
Absolutely.
say. People don't reckon. They just see the end result and think, oh, she's on big screen. She's doing Girls Trip. You know, she's down with Kevin Hart, but she's been putting in work for so long. And she, too, has a childhood that, you know, a challenged childhood. How did you guys come together?
Well, we met at an audition, and the thing is, when you're in comedy, there are so many different. Comedy is segregated, it's sexist, it has a class system. If Dave Chappelle gets condemned a lot for saying what he says because he's a black man, right? So not because he would be revolutionary as a white man, right? Bill Burr's not getting what Dave Chappelle got. He's getting some heat, but not what Dave Chappelle gets. Tiffany and I met because if you look a certain way in comedy, they put you in a certain category. You can't possibly be funny. Not when we started. We didn't have Me Too when we started doing stand up. You know, it was like it was like survival.
So you figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
So she gravitated towards me. I met her because she was like, I know exactly who you are because they've been talking about you, right? And so I dealt with the same things that she was dealing with because she's an attractive woman, and you know it's all relative too. Like we like to say who's attractive in America. I went to Korea and they told me I was ugly.
Did they?
Yeah, they said I was dark. I was too dark and too tall, too big, like to be a woman, because it's all relative.
Yeah.
We always value what Europe says, but there's a big world outside of Europe, right? And then, so anyway, she came to me and she was like, yo, I heard about you. We became friends. We became real friends to find out that we have such parallel stories. I grew up in the ghetto of Miami with a Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban family. She grew up in California in the hood, and we had the same family dynamic. She and I both raised our siblings. Our mothers have issues with mental illness. Our fathers were estranged from different countries. It's kind of weird how similar we were. But the one thing that we met at is that we were not going to be victims. A lot of bad shit happened to both of us, and we decided we were going to grind, pave the way, and blaze the path for people who look like us that came behind us. And we've been connected ever since.
Ever since, man. Send our love and support. All right.
I think it's dope what she did. I initially didn't hear about the special. I kind of was just flicking through and watching it. I was like, wow, like she's bringing on all these amazing women who looked familiar and sound familiar, but to see y'all together doing this collective was beautiful to me. Congratulations on that. And shout out to Tiffany for having that vision. Also, you mentioned Monique and her reaching back. Is there like this sisterhood in comedy with women that we just don't know about? Because I feel like this is the first hearing about it. You know, we didn't know that these things even went on, and it's kind of like y'all have a second voice, you know, because the men are always in the forefront.
Well, I mean, there was, the thing is that what they do with people of color is that they always try to make us feel like there's only one spot at the top for everything that we do, right?
That's true,
And if we understand economics on a greater level, we'll know that if everybody in this room was a successful comedian that would bring money to Viacom, everybody in this room would work because it's all economics. We are just cattle to them, you know? So a lot of the older comedians were not that way. They would be like, you got to earn yours. I earn mine, you know, pick yourself up from the bootstraps. But our little generation of comedians, we just decided that we were going to do it a different way. And not to say that people didn't, because Monique did look out. She takes black women on the road with her because a lot of times they don't let us bring our own openers. They don't. No, you got to be of a certain...
What the promoters won't? Or
you got to be of a certain level, at a certain level where you can bring your openers, right? And a lot of times we got these two angry white men that got to open for us, and they pissed off. They got to open for the Puerto Rican lady. They got to open for the black lady. And it's not as easy as people think it is. But we have made a conscious effort and decision to be that way. Tiffany and I, when I was on Last Comic Standing, she was on Funniest Wins. We were on 2 reality shows.
I remember that. Yeah.
And we made a pact. We like, yo, whoever blows, we come back and get each other. And
love that.
She did it. She kept her word. And I want to go on record to say this. I say this everywhere I go. You see millions of dollars being handed out on Netflix all day long. Multi-million-dollar deals, way bigger deals. All of those men got super big deals. Tiffany's deal was nowhere near any of their deals, and she took 6 people with her. She took a pay cut, and she gave 6 people specials because she thought it was important for the culture to bring people with her and give a voice to people who would not have a voice.
And what I noticed too, y'all got executive producer credit as well, which I thought was fucking fire.
And we got paid like we got paid like we were white men, straight white men. We got paid like we were straight.
That's dope.
Absolutely,
That's dope.
man.
That's
Salute
dope.
to you guys.
Congratulations,
Salute
man.
to the
That's
Tiffany
dope.
Haddishes and the Moniques.
Yep.
On the Aida Rodriguez, who's with us today. You actually got some performances coming up on the 22nd. You'll be at the Hollywood Improv?
I will be at the Hollywood Improv. I'm in Grand Rapids this weekend at Dr. Grin's. I'm headlining.
Shout out to Michigan.
Yeah.
He's from Michigan. And you're going to be at Indiana University as well?
Yeah, I'm going to be there with Tiffany and with Shantae and April Macy, who are all on They Ready. So we got like a little reunion. And and you know what? Shout out to Flame Monroe. Blazing the path for transgender and speaking on behalf of a journey that doesn't get spoken about within the Black and brown community because we can be so homophobic and transphobic. Tracy Ashley, April Macy, the only white woman on there whose grandparents are the first documented couple to die of AIDS in America. Like, it's not like she's some privileged white woman that came. She has her white privilege, but she didn't come from, like, she came from a trailer park. Like, Tiffany specifically curated this and said these people stories need to be heard. And Marlo, because Marlo is the queen of Compton.
Okay, the queen of Compton. Shantae Wayans?
Yeah, that's my sister.
Wayans?
Yeah, she funny. Yeah,
She
Marlon's niece.
That's his niece?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, tell him, man, we got to see this shit. How can we come see the show?
You got to come. Well, you coming to Indiana?
Okay, so we got somebody on the line right now. Uncle B from Dallas is on the line. I'll be watching. I hope y'all stream it. Uncle B, good morning.
Well, go, Doc.
What's up, man? How you doing? What you want to say?
All good, man. I want to let her know, man, she absolutely right on everything she said, my sister, about us brown people, man, Haitians, Dominicans, Jamaicans, us out here in America, we are all one, man. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Uncle B. That's a fact.
Thank you.
Man. Okay, my man, Uncle B right there.
Yeah, DJ Premier checking in too. He just wants you to know that he loves you.
Do you not understand that? I hosted this thing for New Edition, and DJ Premier was at this restaurant when I left, and I was fanning over him because I love real DJs, right? I come from Miami. When Red Alert would come to Miami, we would sneak out the house because we weren't old enough to be in the clubs. But these DJs, DJ Premier, I just thank you. I'm humbled. Like, you don't understand. Like, the people who reached out to me is because I love the culture.
He literally texting me now.
I'm Afro-Latina.
Afro-Latino.
And I claim my blackness. And what I want to say is none of the Latin people came for me. It was a black woman. It was Tiffany Haddish and Wanda Sykes who put me on Day Ready. Wanda Sykes put me on Last Comic Standing. Tamara Goins and put me on Shaq All-Star Comedy Jam. It's always been the black people that I had to identify with when I was growing up because there wasn't a space for me in white Latin media because they are also colorists, you know?
Yes.
So I just want to say thank you for being embraced by, that's my family, man.
That's your family, man. We got Sam on the line. You got a question? He says Chicago. Sam, go ahead.
Yes, sir. What up, Sway? What up, family? Hey, I had a question for Aida. So I love Dave Chappelle's new special, right?
It's Aida.
It's Aida.
Oh, I'm sorry, Aida.
Okay.
I'm sorry. But Dave Chappelle's special is killer, and everything he says is, on point and true. But I hear you talking a lot about race and back and forth as white and black and girl and boy, and Bill Maher, and that was interesting. So what do you think would happen if there was a white dude who said what Dave Chappelle said? Because you said Bill Maher doesn't get crucified like Dave Chappelle does, but he doesn't quite go to that limit either.
No, I wasn't talking about Bill Maher. I said Bill Burr. So Bill Burr also has a special on Netflix. And I do say that they are coming for Bill Burr, but I think that patriarchy and white supremacy get shook when they see a black man with the audacity to question certain things. And that's not me trying to divide the races. That's just me speaking on facts. Like that when Barack Obama became president, a lot of white men who don't believe that they should have to answer to a black man, their psyches, their frames broke because subconsciously they've been programmed to believe that black men are not as valuable as them or should not have the right to speak to them in a certain way or say those certain things. So when you hear Dave Chappelle questioning all of that stuff, because he has the status and he can, it's still really uncomfortable for certain white people, that are like, who the hell does he think he is? There's a lot of people who still think that we don't have the right to say the things that we say right now. And you may not be one of them, and I appreciate you for that, but that's not the reality of the whole world that we live in.
Remember when Barack was Mike Muse, and I'm trying to recollect correctly, when he was elected, and I believe it was members of Congress that said no matter what he suggests, we're going to vote no.
Oh, yeah. It was a day they had a meeting the day he got inaugurated.
Yeah.
The Republicans came together and said, no matter what, we're going to make him a one-term president, and we're going to say no to anything that he has.
And there were people that were to him like, you can't say that to me. Like I have people say that to me in my shows. I had a white man put his feet on my stage, and I was like, you need to get your feet off the stage. And he was like, I don't have to get my feet off of anything. I'm a white man.
He said that?
Out loud in front of a whole room full of people, and all the white people turned on him. I didn't have to say anything. So it's not like, let's not kid ourselves into believing that because you had a black president and you see more black people on television and there's a show named Blackish that we have, arrived at this place where racism is not present. I mean, we see it every day. I don't care about a TV show and that I want little black kids to walk down the street and not be worried about getting shot by a cop.
Blackish is a good show too, though. I like
it. Is.
Yeah,
Shout out to Positive Images.
Absolutely. Ahmed is on the line from St. Louis. What you want to say to Aida Rodriguez?
Thanks, Sway. I just want to say, yeah. I just wanted to say, what's up to Sway in the morning, Sway, Heather B, Tracy G, DB. Really love the show. I've been following it for a long time. Ida, I actually watched the special when it first came out, and you were phenomenal.
Thank
phenomenal. Hilarious, but great content. And I was just curious to know, with someone that's so intelligent, what type of things do you have in store for the future as far as any new specials? And are you planning on bringing on other sisters that may be doing comedy that are out here?
Absolutely, 100%. I started writing my hour special the day after I taped that half-hour special,
Nice.
because it was over. It's just one comedy set. It's a special and it's been great, but it's just one set does not a comic make. You know, you watch Richard Pryor, he bombed one place, he won in the other, and that's how you grow. I absolutely always have been. I haven't been famous, so people don't know what I've done. But I did a movie 10 years ago, and I employed all people of color, from the food that was on set to the person holding the camera to the person doing the lights to the PAs to the stylists. I employed over 30 comedians and put them on a movie. I bought food with my food stamps to feed the comedians because I was homeless at the time. So I absolutely, Tiffany and I, we have this belief that we want to do what the Will Ferrells have done and what the what the Adam Sandlers have done. It's always been about the community and creating a space where we create a way for others. It's never just been about us. And that's why we're friends, because we gravitated towards each other, because spiritually we are on the same page. So I absolutely plan to, as my star rises, or whatever they call it now, I'm going to continue to create a way. And I'm working on a TV show right now and a movie. And you will see Black people speaking Spanish on TV, because that's my goal. That's what raised me.
See.
That's all you got, Sway.
I'm auditioning. You work with Robert De Niro, on a comedian, right?
I did.
What was that? Did you get a chance to interact with him at all?
I did. I interacted with him in the screening, not at the taping, because we taped on different days. But he saw me perform here at the Cellar. Him and Taylor Hackford, who directed Jamie Foxx's movie Ray, and they saw me perform, and they called me and they were like, "We want you to be in our movie. We love you.
dope.
We think you're dynamic." And it was humbling. When I met him, he told me he thought I was funny, and I told him I thought he was great. And we watched the movie together, and he's cool. He's a really cool dude.
Real laid back, right?
Yeah, very laid back.
Yeah, I got a picture with him. He don't really do the pictures, but he doesn't do the pictures. But it was like college signing day or something with Michelle Obama and Common and
Bobby D. You got to get one with him.
I took advantage of it. I
got
just stood
to.
next to him. He could have got mad, but I went with it.
It was worth it.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
Ida, please come back.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
You got an extra platform with us, okay?
Oh man, I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And if people want to follow you, how can they follow you on social?
Funny Aida, AIDA, on Instagram and Twitter, and on Facebook it's Aida.Rodriguez. And I just want to say thank you to you, because you extended an opportunity from one of the children in my community, Nicobe.
Yes.
That baby, she grew up with my kids. And that baby, which is Glam now, is one of my babies of my village.
Okay.
And so anybody who's extended a way for her, I always got to say thank you. So that means a lot to us and our village. So thank you.
All love. I appreciate you. All right. Aida Rodriguez, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you follow her.